Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. It is currently Monday at 1:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're recording this interview. You're going to probably see this around 3 p.m. So congratulations, it's 3 p.m. for you, not for me. And I am here with Travis Bailey, who's head of partnerships and one of the very early employees of the one and only jpg.store. And he wears a lot of hats, does a lot of stuff. He's been around a little while. Welcome, Travis. And we've been chatting a little bit about Rare Evo and Cardano and some fun stuff. Glad to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. I'm like stoked to be here. Love your content for a long time, and I feel like there's some stuff to talk about with Cardano and with us and everything going on. It's getting a little exciting again for sure. So,
Yeah, stuff is ramping up, and I put out a video. It was like the Independence Day video for Cardano, and I started getting a little choked up at the very end. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna cut this, because it sounds weird to get emotional about things like this, but Cardano's been a part of our lives for years, man. Like, this has not
yeah,
been, and realistically it's changed so many of our lives that it's like a job promotion in some sense. It's like you've been working for years and years, grinding it out, and then some really great things start happening that you've been waiting for years, and it's almost like that big job promotion where you're moving to a whole new realm of what you do for a living, kind of thing.
it's true. And I think like something like big change like this, like it's a part of your life now, whether you like it or not, and you feel more connected to it. And like when these big leaps happen, you're like, yeah, this is still a real thing, Like I feel with crypto Web3, like you're so disconnected from reality because you're doing all of this and then you go have lunch with your friends and they don't talk about any of it, in real
Right.
life.
Right.
But like when you go to these conventions, I always find they're so important. And like when these big news events happen, it's just so exciting. You're like, yes, this is real. This is great. We're in the forefront of something really new and exciting. And I was never big for politics, but the governance and all this of Cardano was actually like I find quite interesting. And I'm getting more and more into it as it goes for sure.
I was just playing around with Sancho Net, registering myself
Okay.
as a D rep, and I'm like,
Nice.
do I want to do this? Do I, like I keep getting asked. I either get people asking me to support them
Mhm.
as a D rep, or telling me I need to sign up and become one. And so I've been kind of on the fence. Like, is it unfair if I become a D rep and I'm promoting myself as such?
Oh, I think that's the whole point. You're campaigning for an election, right? Basically,
Right.
I don't think it's any different than wanting to be a senator or town mayor or whatever,
Yeah.
seat at any board. I
Yeah.
think it's a good idea. I think if you have the right heart, like the right frame of mind for it, I think you should totally do it. And I don't think there's anything bad about it at all. I think
Yeah.
that's
I've been
why
kind of
people
going
run.
back and forth on it.
That's why
I
people
think I'm
campaign so hard,
probably,
right?
yeah, I definitely think I'm probably going to do it, and then just it's really up to the people anyway, right? Like, but yeah, we'll see. It's also too. I feel like the more Cardano grows and continues to expand from here, there's going to be so much that I'm going to be studying and diving into. And it's not like there's only one, right? Like
No,
there's going to be a whole slew of us. There's going to be a group of us. So it's not like it's a zero sum game, which makes me feel comfortable, because there are people out there that I feel are very credible and very
for sure.
capable. So like if it were a zero sum game and they were selected over me, I'd be like, hey, more power to you. I support you 100%. But because it's kind of there are more than one, and then I'm like, all right,
Sure, and
let's
I
let's
think
do it.
there's place for everyone, right? Like we don't want if there's 100 seats, you don't want just like 100 core developers who aren't social on platforms and stuff like that, and you just don't want 100 people
100
who
people with
don't
Asperger's
know.
unable to talk to anybody about anything
Yeah, yeah,
within.
or you don't want the opposite. You don't want 100 people who don't have a clue how the tech works,
Right.
and you don't want 100 people who don't know how to market or like have a platform like you have. So I think like there's kind of room for everyone, and I think that's
Totally
like
agree.
cool. But another thing is it's hard to tell how much work you're signing up for, right? So I don't know if I say you should do it or not because like what does a DREP look like? Like practically every week, like what do you have to sit down and like do, you know?
Right.
Like
Right.
I don't have that in my mind, like what that looks like. Right.
I feel like regardless, I'm going to be doing it anyway.
Mhm.
I'm going to be going through a lot of this stuff anyway. So, I might as well have a say in what the outcomes are, because I really personally didn't like the way Project Catalyst was operating. I
No, and it's like not to totally bash Catalyst, because like in principle, in theory, Catalyst is wonderful, right?
Right.
In practicality, it's like so awkward to like vote and scan proposals and know what to do. It's tough, right? It's really tough for like a normal user just to go in and like vote for their project on Catalyst. Like,
Right.
um, yeah, and I don't know if I'm like a super core believer of it either with you, but something like that in theory, I'm all for it. Just how it
Yeah.
actually comes out is tough, right?
I definitely think that things should be done in phases in terms of, like, and I don't know the full procedure um, for, uh, the D reps and such.
Sure.
I'm literally updating one of my Cardano wallets right now. So it's like I'm 70% through. I started it this morning. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's been a
must be
while.
Datalist, is it? Yeah,
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 yeah. Always Dataless. I use Dataless for everything, and I keep it all locked away. Some of my stuff isn't even on location, just like
nice.
in case something weird happens. But
Sure.
then I've got like my play wallets and like NAMI or Eternal and so forth. So
Yeah,
um,
like Daedalus is almost old school now. That's what I used for years too, but like where it like doesn't work with the dApps, like I've like never opened it in ages. But I have
because
like
I just use it
really
as
every wallet
storage,
for
you
sure.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So you are with JPEG Store, and I've had like the Murder of Crows NFT collection. I know we put out on JPEG Store, and there's a lot of stuff happening with NFTs, and recently, obviously, we've seen the whole thing with Gary Gensler, right?
Of course.
And I kind of have my own opinions about what I think Gary's been up to, like the SEC and the way
Sure.
they've been kind of going after a lot of the. I feel like a lot of it is research more than actual enforcement. I think they're just trying to figure out how a lot of these companies operate, what they're doing behind the scenes, and so forth. And in order to get through that front door, they have to say, "Well, you're doing something bad. Let us come look." Right.
Sure.
Um, and so I mean, it's why they keep doing it. And they continue losing all these cases, but then they're settling. So they're basically getting their bills paid while they're investigating and researching everything that is making up the crypto ecosystem. And they're
Sure.
taking their notes and figuring out how they're going to enforce it in the future. Um, but how nervous are you guys at JPEG Store related to like, oh, NFTs or securities? Like it's obvious some
Yeah.
can be, but the majority I don't think are. But what do you
Like
guys think?
I think it's a pretty loose argument. I think you can find tons of specific cases that like, hey, that's probably security based on how they marketed it and the whole concept. But like the whole basic concept of like an NFP being a security is like I find completely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I think OpenSea is like really taking that stance, and they're pledging like $5 million to just creators to fight, and I think they're going to take a huge legal fight back or counter to it. But we certainly don't see them as securities. We never have. We don't ever plan on seeing them as securities. I think it's like a little silly. I think a lot of NFTs are just for the most part, besides the utility ones like digital collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a collectible, almost with a barcode on chain. How how the hell is that a security in
It's
my mind? And I think it's pretty loose.
for a lot of them. I agree. I look at them the same way. Like they're basically like a piece of art with a validity certificate,
Sure,
that's on chain. But there is the argument, and what I do believe when we start fractionalizing NFTs for real estate,
sure,
and real world assets and things, like I gave the example, if I took a house and the house is worth $1 million, I took half of the value of that house, fractionalized them out into NFTs, started renting out the house, and paid revenue streams to everyone holding those NFTs. Those NFTs are securities at that point, I'm pretty sure. I
right,
mean, there, and that is the future. I feel like so much of what we've done in crypto has been basically that early adoption, greed infused. Let's see what kind of new revenue streams we can create with this new tech in the easiest, most degen way possible, right?
for
As the
sure.
technology continues to grow. And now we're reaching that point where things are going to start getting a lot more complicated, because there's so many different use cases. How
If
is
they keep
JPEG
pursuing
Store
them.
planning on, implementing that? Let's say I want to start doing fractionalized real estate NFTs. What would JPEG stance be on that, or JPEG Store's
Well,
stance?
our stance was always like we're just the platform with smart contracts, and it's like we're hands off, decentralized. We don't pick favorites. We don't turn away, things. We just
I
had like a
think OpenSea did for a while, didn't
yeah,
they?
yeah, I did. Like, if we get certain copyright notices officially, I'm sure we'll take action and things like that. But for the most part, we're trying to just be the decentralized platform for you guys to buy, sell, and trade, land, and mint, and do these things with your NFTs. We're trying not to get into the weeds of, uh, you know, focusing the platform towards these like that would be securities,
Right.
for sure. And like it is going to get tangly, and it's interesting to see where it goes. Like we're definitely paying attention. Like I can't remember what the original question was, but we're not like scared of it, but like we're very alert and like definitely focus and seeing how it develops. But
Right.
like this might be another case where like the US is making a big deal of it, but the rest of the planet's just like, oh, we don't care. That's cool. Right.
Right.
So like everything then was only focused like within the USA. And I think it's starting to lose its grip on like global financial decision dominance because like we've been waiting for the SEC for like 5, 6 years to make up their mind is Ethereum a security or whatever,
Right.
and all the other countries are moving past that now. People are leaving the US. So I don't know. It's tough. Like it's definitely interesting to see how it goes. I do think that there's probably some political plays in there too, right? Like Trump just did an
Sure.
NFT collection. The Dems picked the seat for the SEC for Gensler.
Hmm.
Like that could have just literally been a phone call and it's like, hey, give NFTs a Wells notice because Trump is doing NFTs flat out. Who knows? That's
Absolutely.
a tinfoil hat thing, but it's not that big of a
But
shock.
I think there's truth in that because
Right.
even Trump basically said that they won't be tradable until after the election.
Oh, did he
So
say that? I missed that part.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case with those new Trump NFTs. So
It's crazy.
it's like, he's aware. And, some people are trying to make this case that, if Kamala were to win, that we just know that we're just going to expect more of the same that's been going on in crypto since Biden started. And that, that is the worst case scenario. But I'm like, I don't really know if I feel all that. I think things could get significantly worse, but there's another caveat to that. But then if Trump were to win, then it's just gonna, crypto's gonna explode all over everybody's faces and just
I
everybody's
think
gonna be
so as
rich.
well.
And of course that would be great, one way or another. Um, but I'm from the school that I believe that crypto was initially intended to take over the world anyway. Like probably by
Yeah.
some three-letter agencies. Like there wasn't some little guy named Satoshi sitting in a room somewhere coding this shit out and then just, like, hey, I'm just going to make this for the people. This was a team effort, and I think that there's more to it than, like if you go all the way back to what was it, e-money and the Clipper chip,
Hmm.
the original version of Bitcoin before Bitcoin, it was the
The original cryptographic money. Yeah.
yeah, and
Um,
and it's just like once they discovered that there was like a back end, a back door through like this little hardware thing called the Clipper chip that basically just disappeared for 10 years or however long it was, and then out came Bitcoin. And I'm just like, this has been a plan for centralized money, or not centralized money, but like global money for a long,
sure.
long time.
Yeah, I
So
think the US have just been like, like the amount of money they printed in the past 5 years. It's like 40% of all US money ever was printed
right.
in like since 2018 or something crazy. Like something like Bitcoin and crypto was just an eventuality, I think, because like they've just done such a crazy poor job of managing the money that exists now because they just like you said they have basically a back door. They print money. Banks only have to keep 10% reserves. It's a mess globally. So I think crypto has just been a natural evolution to come, but I think the US has just been slowed that down by 5 years. FTX set us back a couple years too, right? So we've definitely had a couple blows the past few years for crypto as a global phenomenon, but I think you can't stop it. I think the innovation is coming, and yeah, pretty much what you said.
I think the question now is going to be really what gets developers and use case pioneers more excited: centralized projects, centralized layer ones, or decentralized layer ones. And I don't think at this point, I don't think there's anything more decentralized than Cardano. At the very least, there isn't anything more decentralized than Cardano as it relates to smart contract layer ones. The argument could be made for Bitcoin, obviously, but um
I agree with you. I think like Cardano's original stick was it's like the best tech, but I think we can also be like either we have maybe not the best or we have really good tech and is very different and we're the most decentralized and
mhm.
governance control platform. So I think that could be the new shtick or saying for Cardano. But yeah, I don't think anything's even close to decentralized. When people bring up like counterpoints, they link like Solana or something, and I find it kind of funny because it's like clearly not. And like these people make up these weird elaborate routes to somehow make something sound decentralized. But when people show you
Isn't
good,
it funny how that
yeah,
works? I see a lot
yeah,
of those narratives too, and I'm just like, uh, it's so funny because when you mentioned Solana, and it's like, of course, there's Solana did do one thing for crypto, in my opinion. I'm talking about it past tense as though it's already dead. I'm pretty sure its on-chain volume is lower than it's ever been in the history of Solana. So I don't know. Maybe when there aren't people in the market to buy up manipulated prices, the on-chain volume goes down. I don't know how that works, but um, I look at them showing and basically creating an outlet for newcomers and degens alike to enter the space on the hopes of turning $100 into 100,000 overnight through these pet rocks. I'm like, listen, it's obvious that there's a market for that that's not going anywhere. And
sure.
the Pump.fun has been obviously a huge proponent for not only getting a lot, like I know a lot of people have coded different trading bots to utilize Pump.fun to try and basically they set their bots to buy every new meme token on the market.
Mhm.
And it's just like there's so much of what happens in that ecosystem is automated by
Crazy.
degens.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. But the thing is that people that attach that volume to real value because it pushes up on-chain metrics, it makes it look like it's busy, and that's not even, to me, that's just an element of what goes on chain, right? That's not even taking into account a lot of the straight up fake stuff that they do to inflate the numbers and everything to basically fool people into thinking that it's something it's not. And like hoping and I still don't know if it's a fake it till you make it type thing, like we're gonna fake it until we actually get there so we don't have to anymore, or if it's literally just a 24/7 ploy to liquidate degens. I don't know yet,
It's
but
tough. It's tough.
it
Like,
is tough.
so they have so much inflation naturally just in the protocol as well. And, I'm not a just complete Cardano max. I don't hate everything else, but like
Me
Solana
either.
to
I'm
me
not.
is,
Yeah.
like Solana to me is like, this can't go on forever. It might go to $1,000 Sol, right? But like eventually people are going to get wise and actually kind of see what's going on. And I'd be really surprised. Like, I wouldn't bet on Solana long term. Maybe in the next year or two, it's amazing. But
It's funny you say that
right.
because I've been predicting now for a couple of years that I believe this is Solana's last market. It's
Yeah,
its
yeah.
last cycle
I
because
think, well, I felt the same way about Ethereum kind of last like I'm like, man, who's paying $250 gas fees for anything? Like this can't work, it can't scale,
yeah,
blah
but
blah
what's
blah. And
$250 if you make,
yes. So
so, but the difference is that you didn't have 98% of people being rugged on every project that
yeah,
launched, within 24 hours of launching it on Ethereum. The
yeah.
sentiment is a lot different. So I never necessarily thought that Ethereum was going to die out. Um, but I look at Solana more of it's a house of cards, man, where it's just like one gust of wind is just, I feel like it's going to hurt a lot of people. And a lot of people come to me and they all crow, you're just a Cardano bull. You don't like Solana because it's competitive. And I'm like, no, if it were just Polkadot is competitive.
Right.
Ethereum is competitive. Any other blockchain in the space, all 30,000 of them, they're all competitive with Cardano in some way, shape, or form. I don't like Solana for a million reasons. Like,
Mhm.
and I've laid them out. DBCrypto and his amazing video that I pushed all over the place, had him on just this, and people are starting to catch on. People are starting to talk and realize what, like, wait a minute, no, this is actually kind of stupid. I'm really just kind of a little maze rat, with cheese dangled in
It's
front of me, and I'm told to run, run, run until I can't run anymore, and then I'm done.
I have a perfect example. So that DB crypto video, I'm in like a group chat with like one friend of mine and like some of his friends locally, but they're like very entry level, like normie traders. It's like case study for me. I can just see what everyone's talking about in crypto, and it's great. And there a bunch of them were super Solana bulls, and one of them linked that video, and then they all sold their Solana like 2 or 3 days later.
I've been seeing that
Like
a
they're all
lot.
like, mine was blown, that they couldn't believe any of this. They're like, Travis, is true. I'm like, yeah, yeah. Like, everything
And
checks out to me anyway.
no, I've been seeing a lot of that stuff as well. I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter saying that. I've been seeing it on Telegram, people saying that, that they sold their Solana, and I've been seeing a lot of people buying into Cardano.
Mhm.
And I think that you've got this whole narrative kind of crumbling a bit, which, granted, there are going to be people, when things start turning around again, I do believe there are going to be people that are going to be like, oh, Solana's numbers are going back up. I'm going to get back in. I'm going to ride this wave. And then the idea is, and I believe that people don't care. People don't care how that number's going up as long as it does. And they don't care if it's dishonest. They don't care if it's shady. They don't care if it's legit. They just don't care. Influencers alike. I've seen so many of them make comments in private groups and things where they just don't give a shit.
They don't
They're
care.
like,
No.
you know what?
They really
Numbers
don't
going
care.
up. It's changing my life. It's making my family rich. I don't give a shit. It's like, okay, well, I'm glad I know who you are now, but
And no one's gonna like a post that fudge your bags. So if your bag
right,
is going up and you're on Twitter, even if you believe it, you're not
right.
gonna like retweet and comment that Solana's broken when it's going up 10% every day.
Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna shut up and just let it go, right? And then
Absolutely.
and then when it's going up 10% every day, the bull posting comes, and then any negative post is just lost instantly.
Right.
Um,
Well, because they think that it's going to go up so high that if it does hit a wall or a gust of wind does come to start blowing the house down, that they're going to be able to get out at a much better position than when they got in anyway.
for sure.
And
Yeah,
and I'm like, a lot of these people do not realize that when this shit does hit the fan, they're going to wake up to an empty wallet. Like, I don't think that they think, oh, if I buy in at 150 and it gets to $1,000, well, hell, I'll get out before at least it hits back to 500. It's like they don't realize what that cascade is going to look like and how quickly it's going to happen. But I mean, to each their own. I hope everybody
sure.
does do well. I really genuinely do. But that's a big part of why I do talk about Solana, because I've seen all of the tactics, all of the narratives, the way that the meme coins on that ecosystem market themselves. They all have, if they would have just left Cardano alone instead of always using Cardano as the catalyst to get their own word out there.
Sure.
Oh, Cardano's down 5% over the last 24 hours while this new meme coin's on its own bull run, shit like that. And I'm like, that stuff just drives me up a wall. And then it just creates these narratives that all these little ignorant degens are running around on
Hmm.
Twitter and everywhere else regurgitating. And I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about, do you? Like you bought $100 of some meme coin because of an article you read that was paid for by somebody else, and you think you're somehow knowledgeable of the crypto space, let alone what Cardano is and how it's different. Like, you don't know. And I'm like,
No, they don't. Yeah. And they don't,
so
like you said, you mentioned those group chats of like influencers and like paid advertising and companies paying for people.
it's big
People have
money.
no idea how
Mhm.
much people just get paid to shill tokens, to tweet, and we're talking $2,500,000. Like it's nothing once a week. People you
And a lot of
think
them
are
will
very
love to
genuine
pretend like they're
are
not getting
getting,
anything.
it's crazy. And like I've seen price sheets for trying to like genuinely hire influencers to cover product, and it's just like mind blowing how
Mhm.
much money they get and
Yep.
how much they ask for, and they get it a lot. And and some of them are great for sure. Like I'm not dissing that at all, but like some people are just soulless and will shill anything and don't care and rug. And the group chats, they're like openly talk about rugging the public.
Mhm.
It's pretty wild when you get behind the scenes. It's a little
I
dirty,
bet you I know
sure.
exactly who you are. The one I know you're referencing one in particular right there, and he's got a real punchable
No,
face and attitude that
no comment.
every time I
Yeah.
see him, I'm like, how is this guy as big as he is? But it is what it is.
But there's no like I don't get any of that at all with Cardano influencers at all. Like they
Right.
just want to chat, hang out, uh what's going on, what do you want to talk about?
Mhm.
No money or whatever. It's just like great. It's like cool. Like let's just get involved and let's talk. If there's a budget, whatever. It's just way more just
Yeah, you
normal.
haven't paid me anything for this
No,
interview. I
no,
can
for
tell
the
you that.
record. Yeah, for the record.
Yeah, for the record,
ACDM.
this isn't a paid thing. And well, here's the thing, man. I'm not opposed. Obviously, I do a lot of paid segments. I have
Yeah, of
companies that
course.
come to me all the time. I don't have a problem with
I
influencers
don't
doing
either.
paid segments. It's when they lie about it. That's what I have a problem with. And
Yeah,
and
they
it
lie about it when transactions are on chain of them getting paid.
exactly. And it's like especially if they're I always tell people, like, if you follow an influencer that's outside of the US, there's a very, very good chance they're being paid to talk about a lot of the shit they're selling you, and they're not telling you because they don't have to.
Right.
And I always disclose everything since day one, before I even knew it was a legal thing, just because it felt dirty not to. Like, if somebody's paying me to tell my viewers about this project, yeah, I'm gonna let them know. Like, I got some money now. At the same time, I have no problem letting people know that if I think something is shit too, even
Yeah.
if I have been paid. So it's like I just keep it 100% as real as I can be. It is what it is. I judge things on its own merit, not by how much somebody's paying me. Um, so it is what it is, man.
You're a much better salesman, like everyone is, when they're more genuine too. When you're like, "Hey,
Exactly.
I like this product and I'm getting paid, but like I actually do like it." So you just
Right.
like you'll just shill it whenever. And you just
Absolutely.
feel good about yourself. And that comes off as an aura, and people trust you a lot more. And I think that's okay. You just gotta find product fits that you
Mhm.
just like, right? And
And it's difficult to find really
it
good,
is,
fun stuff that I
or
like.
like at least something that you have no internal qualms against, right?
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah, because there's
and
some things I may not like personally, but that I think other people would benefit from based off
for
of what their
sure.
interests are.
For
Yeah.
sure. Like a long time ago, I was in sales and I used to like sell like auto insurance. Like to me, like I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but like everyone needs auto insurance. So like
Right.
there's nothing wrong with being a person who sold auto insurance. It's like there's nothing inherently wrong. They need it to drive their car,
Right.
So it's just, and you're not, and it's pretty regulated by the government, so there's no scammy part to it.
Hmm.
So you just feel better, or at least you're neutral. That's like kind of the goal, I think, if you're paid to market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we talked about Solana and we talked about Pump.fun. Um,
Yeah.
and I know that jpg.store is getting ready to launch Rocket,
Yes.
which is in some ways similar to Pump.fun with a lot of differences, as I understand it.
Sure,
Some
yeah, like
some
we're trying to not get branded as a clone for sure.
So
Uh
explain to me the differences between what you guys are building for with Rocket and how that, because I don't hate meme coins,
no,
right?
no.
I think meme coins are fun, they're fine. I hate I hate the fake um strictly created meme coins, like eh, mass market meme coins, mass market pet
Mhm.
rocks that are just, they have more money than sense, pumping their marketing, pumping their narrative just to liquidate degens that are hoping to change their lives out of either desperation or ignorance, right?
Right. And it's like botted and the LP is sketchy and you don't know what's going to happen and you can get rugged in 3 seconds and
Right.
things like that. Yeah. So we were trying to avoid all of that from the get go. Like obviously, Pump.fun is like the most profitable product right now in crypto. Maybe it's dying off right now, but like for the past 6 months, it's been doing really well. But we still didn't really want to copy it and paste it on Cardano. That was never the goal. We thought like I don't think the barriers to go use Pump.fun are really serious anymore. I don't think crypto really has barriers. Like if you just want to use Solana, you just go to Simple Swap, Phantom, and like you're off to the races, even if you're a Cardano person, right?
Mhm.
So we wanted to build something different. We wanted to build something more of a market fit for Cardano. We wanted everything for smart contracts. We didn't want people to be able to rug LPs. We want it to be like a much safer experience. I'll use that lightly, where you get automatically refunded all the time if your product doesn't meet its goal. But the initial launch of Rocket is an MVP for sure. I just want to say that like it is going to be meme coin focused to launch, but once we get past the launch, we're going to add a lot more features, a lot more custom launches. You can set all the parameters in the world. You can do full raises for normal tokens, things like that. But the initial launch will have a hard cap, a very small amount, and it's just going to be a 24-hour timer. And you can get into the launch. And if you buy 100 ADA, that'll get you 1%. And then you have so many tokens. And when it all launches, it all goes to the DEX. It's all smart contract. LP gets burned. And you get your tokens and you can go trading and you're off to the races. So there's no botting advantage. Everyone pays the same price. It's pretty exciting. And if it doesn't launch, you get your money back at the end of the 24 hours. So it's like a much safer way to get in on something. You can commit to a launch and then, leave your computer for 10 minutes, which you can't do on Pump.fun. Sometimes, you can put in your
Yeah.
58 or 28 and go have dinner and come back later. And it's like, oh, it launched, we're doing good, or it tanked, or whatever. But you get refunded automatically.
So
Like,
break that down for me a little slower so that myself and other people
sure.
understand. You just rattled off a whole kind of
Yeah, I
process.
went a little too far. So we'll just scale it back. So we're just going to use numbers. These might change. We're going to do a 10,000 ADA raise. So you want to launch, house token, just make a name. You start a launch. It's going to be really cheap, around 20 ADA. And you create a launch, 10,000 ADA window, 24-hour timer. And then everyone could come in and buy in this timer. Once 10,000 ADA is reached, it gets all automatically distributed the tokens to everyone who bought it, and the LP gets sent to SundaeSwap and then burned. So
So what happened? So is the person creating that token, are they buying it at the same time with everyone else?
they get the first buy when they build the transaction to launch the token, but it's the same price.
Okay.
So they're still
So it's a
getting
fair launch.
it's
Every
completely
token
fair
is
launch.
is going to be a fair launch.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I dig that. That's cool.
And okay, so say only half the money gets raised, and after 24 hours, it doesn't hit the launch. A smart contract, all the money gets sent back to everybody. So there's like no risk. You don't have to pre-trade and stress too much. It's either going to launch or it's not, and that's all to it really. And then the LP never touches a wallet of anyone who can sell it or rug or steal. Like it's literally half gone to the DEX, half the tokens. And then if you want more, you got to buy it from the DEX, and it's as fair as it can be. That's the way we're trying to make it.
So basically, all of the initial that 10,000 ADA is the LP.
It is the
So
LP.
so the price can't really go below that set launch price.
No, until after it hits the DEX. You know,
Okay.
if somehow no one buys it when it hits the DEX, everyone can sell and it couldn't go lower.
Okay.
But it gets sent to the DEX. So if it's 10,000 ADA, it's 20K market cap right to the DEX, and then you can start trading. Like we might change those numbers a little bit. We just kind of have to launch and see how it goes. It's like kind of weird to find the perfect number, but we built it in a way where we can adjust that very quickly. So that's gonna be the initial launch. It's just gonna be a hard cap, more meme coin focus for sure. But down the road, we're gonna have it so that it's like you can have a fully custom launch if you want to do a full raise for a standard protocol. It's all we can do all the same thing if you want. You want to do a week long timer, you want to raise 1 million ADA, things like that. You can do phases. So it will be a full service launch pad eventually. So
will Rocket have its own token associated with it?
there's no plans for a token for Rocket right now, and I don't think so. I don't think it's in the plans. I don't want to say never, but right now there's no talk of token. It'll also be though a full service trading platform, and at launch it'll be that as well. So the token will launch, it'll migrate, the page will just update to the trading page, and you can go on and make your swaps there. You never have to leave Rocket for anything.
So there's no way for people like me to degen into that token before this thing kicks off big.
No. There's no pre-sale. There's no token at the moment.
Oh, I don't care about. I hardly ever do pre-sales for much of anything anymore, just because generally, especially the way things are right now, it's the tokens are going to tank when they hit the market anyway. So you just buy them off of the market like everyone else at a discount.
Yeah, like that'd be quite bullish for pre-sales at the moment, but I think that changes at the drop of a dime. Right, you've been around long enough. One fire sale that blows up for some reason, then they're all back, and we're all back.
Oh, absolutely. And well, it's sentiment, right? I mean, we're at that point in the market where it's like everybody wants this full capitulation while they're accumulating. And I'm like watching my trades right now, and I've made about 4 or 5 grand on just trading the channel recently. And it's like cool, I'm up about $900. It'll go up to about 1,200. It'll come back down to about 7, and I'll just kind of watch it teeter totter. And it's like at this point, my liquidation price is 38,750. So I'm like, I'm just gonna let it go. Like whatever happens at this point, I'm just gonna let it go. It's like I don't expect it to move anytime soon. September's probably gonna suck. I am curious what happens when the interest rates get cut, because something tells me that that's when things are gonna start really getting active again and turning around.
I think
So
so. Like the sell in May and go away. Like why didn't we sell in May and go away? I think that like that's saying like it's not gonna be like it this year, and just here we are. But you've been in it a long time. I think you just I don't think I've checked my portfolio in like 2 or 3 days. Like sometimes you check it all the time.
There's no point.
Now you're just like, oh, whatever, long weekend.
It's down. That's all you gotta worry about.
Yeah, it's down, especially when it's going down. I think you stop checking it. But I also think that is contagious. And I think we're seeing really low on-chain activity, but I think the users are there. They're just AFK.
Everybody's just waiting,
taking a break. Pretty low active users right now. Yeah, but like I haven't made a transaction in a couple days. So like, and I'm literally here working, right? So I think there's tons of users. They just need a reason to come back.
Right.
So I think you'll see with Rocket and I guess Pump.fun launching, like there'll be a lot of like this is something for people to do right now in Cardano. I think a lot of them are bored at the moment.
I think a lot of that is inspired by boredom.
Yeah.
because it's like, people just want to feel like they're involved, especially if they're new. And
Yeah.
it's like they can look at the L1 chains and they can say, oh, well, that's not going anywhere anytime soon. I want to get into something that it's going to change tomorrow. I want instant
Sure.
gratification. I want my crypto games like I want my TikToks. I want it to I want to be able to swipe and have a new experience every 2 seconds,
Or live a little, and like even people who are really responsible may like gamble like 1% of their portfolio.
Right.
They still, and those same people get bored though. So I think there's lots of users. They're just AFK, prices down. The number one thing to bring them back is price go up. Right, like as
Right.
soon as data goes up 20 cents, everything's just going to be back. Crypto and Discord, like it just gets way more active parabolically.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
in
I,
the
I mean,
meantime, we need stuff to do.
once Cardano gets back to like 50 cents, I think everything's going to go gangbusters from there.
Yeah, that's how
Because
we got
that is
to.
going to be such a pivotal moment where people realize like, okay, and we'll see. I haven't done any of that stuff in a little while. I've been moving. I've been just taking advantage of the downtime in the market to just unpack stuff,
Sure. Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. So, is there a specific launch date for Rocket yet? Because I keep
It's
looking.
no, so we haven't made a public date. It is like basically in QA now. Within a week or so, like in weeks, very soon.
It's
Uh,
going to launch within a week or so.
yeah. Well,
Oh,
within
okay.
weeks. I'll say weeks. I don't want to say a week or so, but absolutely very soon. Yeah. It's in
So,
QA. Most of it's already built. We just want to do a lot of really rigorous testing here. There could be a lot of ADA go through these
so
things
it's
for
going to launch September 11th.
no.
Congratulations.
No, no, no. We're smarter than that. PR wise,
Okay. So, yeah. So, like, basically, no later than the 14th.
hopefully. Trying
Yeah.
to get a date out of me. Well, there's a few of the managers are going to token. I would love for it to be live around then, before then, but like I said, I
When
don't
is
want to
that? Is
date
that the
stuff yet.
Singapore thing?
Yeah, I believe that's 18th.
Okay. Well, that's a long
18,
time.
19th. Yeah.
That's a
Are you
long
going?
time. You know what you should do? Oh, wait a minute. The 18th. That's the date they're supposed to cut rates.
Oh, that's good. That's a
So,
good bullish date. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, that would be a really good day to launch is the 18th. Because when they make that announcement and then everybody's like, oh, yay, I'm going to save like $500 a month on my interest payments on whatever,
Right.
that'll be a big day because people will
But
have more money to play with.
I think it is a pretty good date, but I don't want to get pigeonholed to a date. Like we really want to make sure it's ready. We're not like we're in like a not a rush to get it out. We want to get it out really bad, but
Sure.
we just want to like make sure it's all good. I think launching products in crypto is so important to have a good few days at first, right? So we just really want to make sure.
So
Uh,
basically, so if Solana's Pump.fun is like the red light district in like the seedy dark alleys,
sure.
this is going to be like the red light district, but everybody's been tested for STDs first.
Sure. I don't think I would have used that marketing campaign, but I
It's
think
like
it's pretty good for
everybody's got clean needles, condoms, and STD tests on this platform. So that's really good to have if you're going to be, building an entire empire off of the meme coin market. I think that's a plus. There should be
yeah,
some limitations to what's possible.
for sure.
Obviously, I'm joking,
I
but
know.
I
I don't think a marketing campaign around not having STDs would be the best approach to launch their new
you
platform.
won't catch anything at Rocket. Not.
Okay, okay.
um, hey, it is what it is. I
Mhm.
mean, but you say so. It's basically planning to launch with, meme coins, obviously. To I'm assuming, hopefully, pull some users, pull some of the more I don't know if you can call them like solid, but like people that actually have a genuine interest in the ecosystem, not just degenning into pet rocks,
For sure. And
but then expanding the market out to things outside of. So like, will this become a platform for like, we were talking earlier for like fractionalized NFTs? Will this be, or will that just all stay on jpg.store? Like what's the roadmap
sure.
beyond just the meme tokens?
Well, like the initial launch, we were phrasing it around means, but you can launch it for any purpose if you want. But they'll have a hard cap at first. But long term, no, there's gonna be no NFTs at the moment affiliated with Rocket. We're gonna keep JPEG and Rocket completely separated. This is the NFT. This is the token place.
Gotcha.
Right. But no, so long term, like I said, we have a trading platform, which is also going live at the exact same time. Like Rocket will be a trading platform as well. And we're going to add features to that trading platform and add features to the Launchpad platform of Rocket.
When you say trading platform, you mean like a meme coin exchange?
Sort of, it'll be an aggregator. Right now, it's just going to be SundaeSwap. So we have our own just trading view, trading transactions, widget, everything to trade on Rocket, and we just built it on top of SundaeSwap's V3. So it'll like be a DEX, but we're using SundaeSwap on the back end.
Okay. What
Charts
about
and holders,
including
all
things
that.
like
Right?
Wi-Fi or some of the other DEX platforms so that you're kind of getting them distributed out to a lot of different platforms at once as opposed to just one?
I would say like we're not opposed to aggregating, and in the future we may add a lot more dexes. But like for the launch, we just wanted to like pick one. We've worked with SundaeSwap a lot, have a great relationship. I think it's the best choice, and we're just gonna have one core dex built into the trading. And yeah, so like Sunday's number 2 in popularity to MinSwap at the moment, but like I said, we really like Sunday, so we're just gonna
Yeah, I
have it
hear a
with just
lot of
that.
good things about SundaeSwap behind the scenes.
Yeah,
People who have worked with them, worked on it, done things like they're like innovative, and I mean, they've done a lot of shit to help the ecosystem beyond just being
absolutely,
SundaeSwap too. Like
absolutely,
they've helped other
advised millions.
projects. Yeah.
Like
So
they've come a long way, and I think they get a bit of a bad rep because of they were one of the first platforms to launch like 3 years ago, and there was
mhm.
some delays and things. But like that's ancient history to me now. I think it's crazy to think back to 2020 and 2021.
I
Uh,
feel like they've done some pretty big things behind the scenes that the public generally isn't even very
Yeah,
familiar
and
with.
development wise, they're like brilliant and have done, like you said, a million things and a million aids to everything. Like I'm not a dev, so I'm not going to speak to it, but I can tell for sure that they've definitely done a ton of work, and they're really one of the best development teams to work with. They've done a bunch of stuff for us and audits and things they've built for us. So we've worked with them a bunch already. So we just wanted to use their decks. It's basically us building transactions on Sunday, but in our interface. So yeah, you'll be able to just go in and trade, and you can trade any token launched on Rocket in the platform. Charts,
Will I be able to
holders.
trade Crow token on Rocket?
No, so the first launch of Rocket won't have older tokens. It'll have to be only tokens launched on Rocket.
Oh
But
God.
they're all coming though. They're all coming. This is just
Okay.
like we want to launch with like a core set of features and make sure everything is great, and then we're just gonna add a bunch of stuff to
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't even do anything with Crow token, but everybody told me for years, like, you got to start Crow token, you got to start Crow token, and I did 100% fair launch token,
Yeah,
and I have plans for it, but primarily when Cornucopias launches, and I can start really building kind of my little mini ecosystem within that
sure.
game world. But until then, it's just like I don't know what all to do with it. I try to add little fun utilities and things for people, but well, I'd like to integrate them into like my game, my Wargrim game.
Sure.
Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, it'll be cool to get them on
Well,
there when the time comes.
we'll have all the information and data from Tap Tools built in as well, and Sunday Swap. So it'll be a nice little trading platform. The goal is that you just don't have to leave Rocket if you want to get in and participate in raises and trade tokens, things like that. So and we're
Okay.
gonna
So
keep adding
September
more and more to
18th,
that.
is it going to be rocket.store or
Yeah, that's
rocket.com?
the no rocket.store is the main name we have right now. I think rocket.com was millions of dollars to buy. So
Yeah, I think the mortgage company has that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. jpeg.store,
Yes, sir.
jpg.store for your NFT needs. And soon, probably when the Fed cuts interest rates somewhere around the 18th, you'll have your hands on Rocket. Uh, eh, we'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
see.
I'm going to be
Maybe
waiting for
earlier.
it. I'm going to be sitting and hitting refresh on the page on the 18th, but we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I'll give you a little heads up before we go
Okay.
live. How's
Give me a
that?
heads up so I can let everybody know.
All right, we'll
So
do that.
maybe I'll even and I'll try and launch like a total degen token for shits and giggles. And just to understand how the system works and like if people care
Yeah,
about
do it for
my new
fun.
shitcoin.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
So
it'll be a party.
I'll keep you in the loop when we get close.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, Travis, thanks for joining me. For those of you out there watching in Cyberland, thank you. And until next time, crow your coins, and I'll see you again soon.